Good evening, Rabbi Sai. Tonight is a very, very special occasion for myself, for my wife, for my children and grandchildren, coming together. Akaras HaTov to the Moisid, the wonderful Moisid, Yeshiva Tana, that has done so much for my children and grandchildren, the Bloch Eniklach, the Gram Eniklach, for every time they come to my home and every time I visit and see them, I'm really excited at the wonderful chizuk and koyach haTorah that they have within them. I'd like to leave a very, very important message that I feel is very pertinent to this evening's gathering. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a maisa, an uvda, that nobody knows. A maisa b'didi hava uvda, together with my Rebbe, the Steipler Gaon, that it's more or less of a private thing. In fact, this maisa, when I get my yearly call from Rabbi Chaim Kilievsky's son-in-law, Rabbi Short Tzivyain, on Purim, so last year I told him over this maisa, and he called me back later on in a little bit of my drunken stupor, from what I remember, telling me that he said it over to Shver Rabbi Chaim Zolazayin Gozun, and Rabbi Chaim smiled, like in his words, "V'nehenesi ma'od." I enjoyed it very much. L'maisa, the Olam is coming together for Yesod and Achzokas HaTorah. There's Achzokas HaTorah mitzad the Menailim, mitzad the people in charge of making sure the Moshe Yeshiva Tana runs properly. They're Machzikei Torah. There's Achzokas HaTorah mitzad the Etzim Menailim HaChinuchi. The Rabbeim, they're also being oisig in Yoni Achzokas HaTorah, by being machnas Torah to the children. Then of course comes all of you sitting here today to be mekayim the mitzvah of achzokas HaTorah. Being that we're 2 short weeks away from Purim, let me tell you this maisa that has to do with Purim. It was many, many years ago, as a younger man in Koil Chazonish in Bnei Brak, that I felt a certain urge. Something came over me after X amount of years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of learning there. I felt I had to put up a new base of medrash for the kollel. It was very small, it was very dilapidated, and there was mamish no room for the 72 younger light learning there, bismani at the time when I was there. I really want to make this short, but it has so many points to it, but time obviously is limited. I got involved. It meant raising the money, it meant designing the building, it meant hiring the workers. A lot of things were involved, and obviously when you're involved in Inyonei Atzibur, it's going to take away from my learning time. Till that moment, I was kulay in the base medish. A certain amount of time now had to go for this objective. One of my rabbeim, one of the Gedolei Hadar Mamish, one of the Gedolei Poiski Hadar, I'm not talking about the Steipler, I'm not talking about Chaim, the Bala Mechaim Chaim, a different Odom Godel Mamish that everybody recognizes, who I was very close to. I noticed a certain kalkite after a certain amount of time, and I was very distressed. So I went over to him. I said, "Rebbe, is there anything that I did wrong? That your way of talking to me is a little different?" He said, "Yes." I said, "What did I do wrong?" So he quoted the Gemara Megilah Zayin on the Beis. The Gemara says, "Rabbi Yosef Gadol Talmud Torah Yosef Me'atzolos Tefoshes the Mikora Choshev Le the Mordechai Bos the Dalid." Mordechai was 4 in the Sanhedrin. Rather than in Anshe Knesset Agdoila, he was considered number 5 afterward. So he said, "No zemedach. Till now you were learning full time, and now I got the message." Rabbi said, "I can't begin to tell you, my tzar was more than you can imagine. I mean, I was working to make this thing well, and Baruch Hashem, it went beautiful. It was very hard." And then I started thinking, hey, what about the Pandavich Rav? What about all these Gedolei Yisrael? They gave up their lives for this. I only gave up a certain amount of time. So I had steers, I had kashas. I sat down and I wrote a very long letter to my Rebbe, the Steipler, and I went over to him like 2 o'clock in the morning. In those days you could still go, you knock on the door. If it's open, you go in. If it's not, you go home. I went in, he read the letter, word for word, everything. And I'm going to quote for you the exact same words. These words are chukuk b'moichi. They won't leave my mind. Chukuk b'libi, they won't leave my heart. And he told me, in Yiddish I'm going to say it, with the way the Steiplers spoke, Anyone that ever spoke to him knew that he had his rolling reishes. So he said as follows, and these are the exact words. Vos retir, he yelled at me. Vos retir, Mordechai is given oisik and atzolis nefashes. Ihr sind oisik and achzokes ateiro. Achzokes ateiro is as aggressive von atzolis nefashes. You hear Rabbi say, Azam Meise Neure, you hear such gewaltige Sachen, only a Godel Ador can paskin, Hatzolas Tefoshes. We're not talking about a Hatzolah member running to save somebody that fainted or whatever. We're talking about ganz Klal Yisrael. The Hatzolas Tefoshes from Kol Klal Yisrael. This is the Meise Purim we're talking about. And yet, Hachzokas HaTorah has a lot more koiches. Therefore, if he would have been nice Hachzokas HaTorah, he never would have gone down to Madrega. Rabbi Isai, there's no question about it. You all recognize the Achzokas HaTorah from the Miyastim, the Achzokas HaTorah from the Rabbeim, from the Menalim. You, Rabbi, say it's your opportunity to be Machzor Torah tonight. The chayvus of this Moisid is Me'al or Ev. It's impossible for one person to handle it. All of you sitting together in this room tonight can make a difference. You can decide that, yes, I'm also going to be for the Machzika Torah. I'm also going to be for those that are finally going to pay the chayvus of this Moisid for once and for all. So the Menailim and the Miyazdim don't have to run around like a psik reisha to try to put things together. Do your maximum, Rabbi Sai, and there's no question the Schus HaTorah, Achzokas HaTorah, will be oimed l'cho u'lemishpachtecho l'zarecho ad oilam omen kei ni rotzoi.